There will be time for that.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys have been good and I hope everyone's fine. So I'm Efe and this is Will. So Will is my husband and today we've decided to just do a video on something really real and something that affects a lot of couples and a lot of homes. It's a topic that is quite sensitive. It's something that is of very deep concern because we can see that the statistics has shown that divorce rates increased phenomenally worldwide in the past decade than it's ever been before.
Yeah, I mean, marriages seem to be under attack, and ours hasn't been immune to this attack. A lot of people are fighting. I think people have less patience these days. There's a lot of pride that kicks into marriage, and just to use our marriage as an example, we've gone through the haywire with regards to fighting. From the little fights like why didn't you leave the toilet seat down or up or whatever the case may be, to
or food. We actually fight about food sometimes.
Or to the real difficult fights about honesty, trust, all sorts of different things. And I think the key thing now is we're here. We're not yet perfect, but there's been ways we've managed to maneuver around it, and we're still trying to find a way to maneuver around it. But I think it's important to just understand, how do these fights start? And
because the thing is, like, when couples fight, there's something called, or we would like to grade the fights into being small fights, big fights, medium scale fights, whatever you want to call it. Quarreling is quarreling and fighting is fighting. Now the problem is sometimes this so-called small fights, what really happens when a couple decides to divorce? Isn't it the small fights slowly graduate into medium scale and then the big fights, and then you don't see anything? So the thing is, for us, we don't fight. We quarrel very frequently, and it could be anything. You literally would feel like there's a negative spirit in between you, causing you to fight, because it can be triggered in a snap of a finger. It can go from, hey, how are you, to, I can't believe you did this, and literally wanting to gun on each other's neck, But one of the things I would say that has helped us is, I think our spirituality has helped a lot. That sort of makes us come back to a certain alignment. It's sort of like our foundation. So when we see we're getting a bit out of hand, we sort of try to trace our steps back onto bringing an atmosphere of peace through God. But the fights can be very damaging. They are real. What troubles me sometimes is the fact that people don't really talk about it until it's too late, and you just hear that they're going their separate ways or they're getting divorced and all that. How has it affected you as a person?
I think for me it's been very difficult, because when you're coming out from being single and you get married, the first thing that is very difficult is adjusting to living with somebody else. The little
when
things.
All the fairy tale is gone.
The wedding is fantastic. The concept and the idea of getting married is from a peer pressure and a societal perspective is like, what, I've got it. But the reality of just coming into a unity with someone, they say two become one. It's not as easy to become one, because I've had my own lifestyle, she's had her own lifestyle, and it's bringing those two lifestyles together, starting to make decisions together. So it's affected me big time, because I've found it difficult to let go of my individualism to become a collective. And I think that in itself, as much as we must preserve our identity, there should be specific things that start moving in a commonality, because we're now in union. And I think that's been the difficult part for me, being open and honest with her about a lot of things that I felt she doesn't really need to know about.
And that, I can say, was the catalyst to a lot of fights we had, where he would more or less take a decision on his own. You see, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to take a decision on your own. But the moment you step out of singledom and into marriagehood, as I like to call it, then you can't really honestly take decisions on your own, because any decision you take, good or bad, or any decisions you make, would have some sort of ricocheted effect on the other person. So we need to be mindful of that. But we've had situations where we've literally, have we thought about divorce? Yes. Have we even, had moments of, I'll call it separation? Yes, because sometimes it gets too much, especially when one party feels aggrieved or hurt by the other person. Distrust being a major catalyst in breaking up homes or bringing about disunity between couples. We definitely have had our fair share, and the wisdom to take away from this particular issue of trust is it's just not worth it, to be honest, because if you do have a situation where you're facing challenges with trust in your marriage, the honest truth is the problems and the issues and the chaos it causes is not worth it in the long run. It's actually not worth it.
I've had significant headaches because you build your own. They said you lay your own bed. What did they say? Make your bed.
I don't remember.
If you make your bed, you lay.
So you lie on it.
Yeah,
the way you make your bed, so you lie.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one of the key lessons I'd like to say. As men, we find that we're the kings of our own castle. We want to do things our way or the highway. But as you get married to someone and you start being responsible for that person and you're responsible for a family, then it's important for you to start including that person or including your wife or including your partner in every decision that you make, because it makes more sense, because it's going to affect their life directly or indirectly. Whether you feel or you think you're smarter than the system and you can beat the system, eventually with the laws of God, everything comes back. It's like karma.
And also for us women, I speak for myself and a few women I know out there, which might apply to quite a few of you out there, is the fact that we tend to react sometimes a bit OTT. The problem it causes, because yes, you should react the way you feel, you shouldn't really mask it and and all of that. But the problem with that is it also causes people around you to sort of like downplay a situation for your benefit, or not tell you the full gist of something that's about to happen or something they had planning in their head and whatnot. It does have a role to play in terms of us women just basically reacting. If you have that high, I do, I'm going to confess, I have this very heightened, don't nod, way of reacting sometimes, and that has unfortunately caused some issues as well.
And it's important that we know our partners, and sometimes you know your partner too much, or you're trying to avoid conflict, and you know that, okay, if I tell her this thing, she's not going to be happy about it, or withhold certain information so that baby, I can just have peace for tonight. Maybe I'll deal with it later. But the thing is, if you don't deal with it now, you're just postponing something that you still need to deal with later. And when you deal with it later, and she finds out the truth,
big trouble.
It's not
What has really helped me? It's been difficult, because sometimes you find certain strategies help you. Like a friend of mine was literally just talking to me a few days ago, and she said, you know what? When you do find that circle of or quarrel, sort of rear its head, just choose not to be a part of it, and as much as that makes sense on paper, as much as that makes sense to your ears, as much as it sounds like smart and reasonable advice, sometimes we quickly jump into the party, so I think it's getting into a heightened state of consciousness, and also setting goals for yourself where you remind yourself, so it's very personal, as much as you want to walk through the problems together, you also need to have goals that you individually set for yourself on a mental perspective. So when you do find that coming, I think have this mantra in your head: is it worth it? So if you're able to answer, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Over and over and over again, and you find that it's not worth it, then why do it?
For me, I think there are two significant things that I found, when things are quiet and they're calm, you should be able to think about it, as a precursor to what's going to happen. I think the first one, which has been a destruction factor in our relationship, is pride. As a man, I have a lot of pride. I know I demand respect. I want to be respected, and that pride is up here. And pride, it blinds me from actually seeing things from a logical perspective. You start wanting. So we have a lot of pride coming into play, and that pride in itself should be quashed with humility. If you're able to approach the relationship with humility, and you know that point number 2, which is, I'm here to serve my partner. I'm here to make her happy. I'm here to make sure that she has everything she needs. Even if she has weaknesses, I'm here to help her through those weaknesses. So if I eliminate pride, I work with humility, and at the same time I understand that I'm actually in service to my partner. So if I'm in service to my partner, I can't be attacking you. It's like a customer. You're my customer. So how am I going to make you feel bad if you are there for me and I'm there for you? I'm supposed to make sure that you're happy and you have everything you need. So if we do that in our quiet state, or in our reasonable state, and not wait for the fight to happen, and then we start thinking about those things as things are happening,
consciously preparing yourself.
then it's important to just have that head centered. I need them. I'm here to serve them. So what am I doing to make them happy? So if you don't find yourself doing something to make them happy, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do in the relationship.
That's right. So basically, the parting shot we want to leave you with today is to understand and realize that this quarrels or the fighting can come through literally any hole. It can come through any medium. It doesn't have to be like a big issue. It can come in a very small domestic issue, and it's just having that heightened state of consciousness. So we basically have come together and formulated this challenge, which we're going to do on a weekly basis. We're going to have the no fighting challenge, which we would record week after week. So we started that 2 days ago, and so far, so good. It's been good. So we're waiting, obviously, day 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and we will be keeping you updated on if we do break this challenge. So wait for us to come back to you with the results, if it worked. If it worked for us, we're just your normal everyday couple. So if it worked for us, again, we're going to be implementing the mantras and sort of preparing ourselves, because if you do prepare yourself, you find that you're less caught off guard, if that makes sense. So if it works out for us, then we would put it out there for couples to literally embark on this no fighting challenge on a weekly basis and see how they actually fare on. Because the moment you have it mentally in your mind and in your head that, I'm not fighting this week, you would find that when the fight does come, you are accountable to yourself on the I'm not fighting this week. And if you're successful in doing that week 1, you could actually be successful in week 2 and week 3 and week 4, and sort of like breaking the pattern, because a fight is always an invitation to battle, but you don't necessarily have to take that invitation all the time.
Yeah, and we're winners. We like to win, and the more you're able to conquer certain things, your weaknesses and all these different things that cause problems in your life, then the more you succeed. And I think this challenge is just something that we will take on, and I know that we're not gonna lose.
We're not gonna lose. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, and please do join the family and subscribe. And we'll come back next week and tell you if it was love or war.